Well, even with them on the floor when they were down 41, they just looked unenthused. They looked unorganized. It was given LA Fitness, YMCA. I don't know what this team was doing out there when you were so dominant throughout the regular season.
Hey, Samaria, I don't know what's going on out there in Cleveland, but the Cavs got their ass whooped last night by the Indiana Pacers, down by as much as 40 points at different points throughout the game. I need to know your thoughts. Is this Cavs team done? Are they cooked?
Yeah, they are. And I feel like earlier in this series, I tried to chalk it up to, okay, this team is not at full strength. You had Darius Garland out, you had Evan Mobley out. But now those guys are back. I'm not sure if they're 100% healthy, but like you just mentioned, they're still getting beat by 41 points at halftime. And then you lost Donovan Mitchell. We don't know how serious that injury is when we're shooting this right now, Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's just going to be really interesting to see what happens moving forward. A lot of people are saying that it could be an Achilles injury. I hope that's not. Ooh. So yeah, if Donovan Mitchell is gone, you all are done, because without him even with him on the floor when they were down 41, they just looked unenthused. They looked unorganized. It was given LA Fitness, YMCA. I don't know what this team was doing out there when you were so dominant throughout the regular season. It's really shocking to me. What do you think?
I'm shocked as well. I feel like they remind me of the Atlanta Hawks from like 2000. What year was those Jeff Teague Hawks teams? I think 2009, somewhere around there. They had like these phenomenal regular season records, and for whatever reason, when it came to playoff time, well, granted, they ran against LeBron James, okay, and the Cavs getting their ass bust by Tyrese Halliburton, so a little bit different, but just in the sense of like this really great, phenomenal regular season, far and away the best regular season record in the Eastern Conference. But their roster construction doesn't bode well for the playoffs, especially when you have a guy like DG who feels like annually gets hurt around this time. Darius Garland, unfortunately, as talented as he is, feels like the piece that's going to have to be moved in order for this Cleveland Cavaliers team to perhaps hit its goals and expectations. In addition to consistently being hurt, he's a smaller guard. Donovan Mitchell, for as big as he looks on the court, I'm taller than Donovan Mitchell. I'm stood next to him. I'm like, oh, snap. Like, you really, like, not a big guy. So you have two little guards in the backcourt. And I think you're going to have to change that up in order to have any level of success, because a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference have strong, big, elite point guards. And I'm looking specifically at the Boston Celtics, who have, of course, Drew Holiday and Derek White. I'm looking at the Detroit Pistons, who, of course, have Cade Cunningham. I'm looking at the Knicks with Jalen Brunson. These are 3 point guards that I feel like are all terrible matchups for Darius Garland. I did not expect to put Tyrese Halliburton into that category with his Gumby built self, but that's what it's looking like. It's looking like even Tyrese Halliburton is getting too busy, and so I'm disappointed, and I'm sad for the Cavs fans. I have a lot of homeboys who are from Cleveland, but I think DG is actually the weakest link on this roster, and that's unfortunate because he is very talented.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I've seen a lot of people talking about Donovan Mitchell and maybe comparing him to Joel Embiid as far as not being able to get over that postseason hump.
No way.
I've seen that.
No way.
I wanted to bring that up to you because I have seen that, because he hasn't been able to get to a conference finals. And so everybody's saying, oh my God, is he a Joel 2.0?
I don't like this. I don't like this, not one bit, not at all. For 2 reasons. Number one, Donovan Mitchell is always available, right? Number 2, Donovan Mitchell has put on some of the most spectacular playoff performances of the last 10 years, especially when you go back to the bubble. And him and Jamal Murray were putting on just a spectacular show for everybody who was still on solitary confinement in their homes. Donovan Mitchell was playing for the Utah Jazz. Nobody has any expectations ever for the Utah Jazz. When we look back at that roster construction, we don't even remember who was on that team other than Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Do you know anybody else that was on that team? No. So there can't be any expectations for that guy. Joel Embiid has played with Paul George and James Harden and Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey. So I'm not doing that to Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a phenomenal playoff performer. He's somebody you can rely on. Evan Mobley also is someone else who was supposed to evolve into a better version of himself coming into the league. There was some who had, and by some I mean Bill Simmons, who compared him to a young Tim Duncan, and he has not had that kind of offensive development. And so really Donovan Mitchell is the only person on this team who is being tasked to carry the offensive load for the Cavaliers. Ty Jerome had a great regular season, but he's been terrible in these playoffs. He'll win Sixth Man of the Year, but he's going to cost himself a lot of money because he's clearly showing that he's not somebody that you can rely on. I'm not for any Donovan Mitchell slander. He is the guy on this team, and to me, he's neck and neck with Anthony Edwards. I put him up in that realm of talent and playoff performance. So I'm not rolling with that at all.
Also on social media, I've seen a lot of people talking about the Pacers being able to bait this Cavaliers team into silly fouls and technicals. We saw it a few times last night.
Yeah. I mean, you can't punch me in my chest and then expect me not to do anything. Like, that's what happened with Ben Mathurin and DeAndre Hunter. Like, and I like the way Hunter responded. And the officiating got it right. They went back to the video, reviewed, and it looked, of course, at first glance, like Hunter was the guilty party. But it turns out to be that, he got punched in the chest. And so the refs were like, nah, you stay. Ben Mathurin, you're out of here. So I thought that was handled very well. I just think this Pacers team is a bad matchup. And I think that they do a lot of things really, really well. And I think they're going to give anybody from here on out a rough go because they play defense. They have, some elite defenders on the perimeter. And they also have bigs who are very versatile. Pascal Siakam allows them to be extremely flexible. And yeah, I think I underestimated them. But I kind of I underestimated them. I thought Tyrese Halliburton was overrated as well. And I think we were all wrong.
Speaking of underestimating, do you feel like you underestimated the Denver Nuggets in this series?
No, they lost yesterday. Why I underestimate them? I overestimated OKC buying into what everybody else has been.
Okay. See, yeah. I feel like when we roll the tape back, I felt like this could go down to the wire. And you was like, oh no, OKC is they're gonna.
I just don't understand. I never said sweep. Sweep is crazy.
You said that Denver had nobody.
They have Jokic. I would never say that. Wrong show, wrong guy. I never said Denver has nobody. It's crazy.
Joe, run the tape back, Joe.
And I think that Jokic has been looking very worn down in these playoffs. And the Thunder have big bodies to throw at him. They got Chet Holmgren, who he's going to have to step out and defend all the way out to the perimeter. Hartenstein is going to make it tough on him. They just got a lot. The Thunder have a lot, and then they have a guy on the perimeter who I think the Nuggets don't have anybody for in SGA, who will be our MVP. They don't have anybody who can slow him down. If I said Denver has nobody, by all means, like excoriate me.
You made it seem like there was gonna be no competition there.
I think I did that with the Boston Celtics and Knicks. That's the only time I really show my a high level of disrespect is when it comes to the Knicks. And even still, with the series being 2-1, I'm going double down. The Knicks. But yeah, that's just how I feel. That's how I'm wired. You feel me? But with Denver, I'm not surprised that this is a series. I think that OKC is so reliant on SGA. I think they're too reliant on SGA. And he does a lot of the same things that James Harden and Luka Doncic do. And we have yet to see a team have a dominant run in the playoffs with that style of basketball, being that tethered to one man's offensive movement. And so I'm not surprised by anything. I think if anything, I'm surprised by the fact that the Denver Nuggets cannot play that great and still be in these games, because yesterday they did not shoot the ball that well in the first half. They shot 25%, I think, or something like that. Something crazy. I like good basketball. I had to turn the Indiana Pacers game off because it was so ass after the first quarter. I knew it was over. It was just like, there's no point in me watching this. So anytime there's a hotly contested game, I'm all for that. So I want to see good basketball. Except when the Knicks play, I want to see them get their ass bust. But at this point in the playoffs, is there anybody that you feel like has shown themselves to be the best team in the league?
The Pacers. Ooh. That's where I'm going. Honestly, the Pacers. That's how I feel. Who do you feel?
The Pacers is interesting. They probably played the best. But they've also played opponents that I feel like they're just a bad matchup for. I think the Wolves. Something about this Wolves team is really impressive, right? Like, you take out the Lakers, who have 2 top 10 players, even though they were without a big man. this Warriors series is hard to call because, the Warriors are not playing without Steph. And so you're supposed to be dominant against a Stephless Warriors team. But for some reason, this Wolves team is clicking. And unfortunately, and this hurts me to my core. Unfortunately, they are making Rudy Gobert look like an adequate NBA player. He is looking like somebody who knows how to tie his own shoes. And if you have that guy looking decent, then I think you have raised the collective spirit of your team, because normally during this time of the year, Rudy's head is hung on the bench and he can't even play. People isolate him, and he's having some real playoff success. He's still ass, but
I'm going to always toot my own horn when I am correct. I talked about focus. I said that. I didn't know how long they were going to be unfocused, but I did say that I felt like there was a fear for me that the Timberwolves were going to be unfocused heading into their first game against the Warriors, coming off this huge, almost championship-like victory in that series against Los Angeles. I did say that. We can roll that tape back as well. Thank you.
I mean, we're not going to keep rolling back your footage when you get something right, because if that's the case, this show going to be a whole bunch of reruns of my takes. Anyway,
but no, you're right, though. I was going to say you're right, though, regarding Minnesota. They can lose them. They can lose games themselves, right? Like, the only team that's stopping them is themselves. They have to continue to be focused and play their best basketball, and I feel like they can go far. So I kind of agree with you on that.
Yeah, they have the one guy who every single night genuinely and legitimately feels like he's the best player on the court. And they have really versatile defenders. Jaden McDaniels is a nightmare. He's been shooting the hell out of the ball these playoffs. They're tough. They're tough to deal with. And they got size, they got length, they got physicality. Julius Randle, for all the things that have been said about him the last couple of years, has been hooping. And so he's been playing extremely well in the playoffs. But, hey, man, there's a lot more playoff basketball to go. I'm looking forward to tonight's Knicks matchup. Hopefully they catch this L and all things can be corrected. Although I don't like the city of Boston. Let me just say that. If there's one team I don't mind the Knicks beating, it's the Boston Celtics. Because we don't rock with nothing Boston over here as well. So just so y'all know, I hate the Knicks, but it's always Boston. Y'all let us know your thoughts on all things playoff basketball. Do you feel like this Cleveland Cavaliers team has to be blown up in order for them to have championship expectations going forward? And let us know your thoughts about Denver OKC, as well as Knicks Boston. Wolves and Warriors is a wash, so you ain't got to tell us too much about that series, but we want to hear from you. We appreciate you, Fumble family. Peace.